Okay, we are going to start again from the very beginning because the first time around I was going too fast, jumping everywhere, and the second time around I was going too slow that I got lost in the sauce. So this is going to be it. I'm not going to record this again. I'm tired. And I need to sleep for like a whole week. Today's episode, hello everyone. Today's episode is about imagination and how it really is making up the world that we live in all aspects. And how I feel that it goes underrated or looked over as, I guess, because imagination sounds more associated or is more associated with children or something immature. But imagination is the catalyst of it all. She is that girl. She is alchemy herself. She is the power that we all have. And in a way, she is like the tiny little atoms that make up every real thing that we see and use and feel. Yeah. So, to start off, how did we get to this point? Well, funny you ask, said no one. I was thinking about a topic for today's episode, and let me tell you, as easy as it is to talk about nothing when it feels like something to me, something that I care about and that seems little but shapes my world, it is hard to think of topics because it's kind of like trying to maintain within the theme of like, I'm going to talk about the things that I like because I'm tired of seeing everyone talk about how life sucks. So I'm going to try to find, anything and everything to talk about why there are things to like about life. But there's so many things that I like. And also in my everyday personal life is just like, am I in the mood to talk about these things? Can I find that energy to like conjure up and try to convince and persuade everyone else to feel the same thing that I'm feeling and like thinking, and try to embody that so that way it is like transferred on and touched on everyone else. But it is the dead cold winter and I would love to hibernate. And it's probably easier to talk about these things when the sun is like, out and there's not a cloud in the sky and it's warm, but it's cold. And it's cold inside this girl's heart. But either way, I came up with the conclusion that we're going to talk about imagination because I was like, fangirling. What I'm not doing when in my leisure time, I am looking at the things that put a stupid smile on my face, and that is me fangirling over whatever my current ADHD hyperfixation obsession is. And one thing that will always remain consistent. Well, yeah, consistent, somewhat consistent, but right now she is every day consistent, a routine. She is the air that I breathe, a part of my everyday life. And that is fangirling over, people who don't know I exist and their professions. And, all the little things that are just bonuses on top of that. I'm trying to make it sound like I'm fangirling over boys. And what? And what about it? They're talented, they're smart. They do things in their power in whatever they can to contribute to the world. So don't judge me. Okay. It's just a bonus that they're cute. But anyways, sidetracked. Fangirling. Then I was like, I feel like fangirling should be like a whole nother episode where I really have to like gather all my material and gather myself, because she is just sprawled out. I have my finger in every pot. It is ridiculous. So yeah. Then I thought about like obsession or just being a fan of something, or just the fact of finding joy and continuing that even further. And I don't want to say savoring it, but okay, maybe it's not savoring it, but like indulging in it a little bit more. And that is not from anyone else but your own control and willpower. And then I was like, that is the magic. That is the thing about humans. And how we are presented with something and then we just take it just a step further. And it sounds like so ridiculous, but then when you think about it in like maybe, a serious matter, like that is how we come up with inventions, and that is how we come up with, my brain is saying systems, but like the word systems is like, I don't know, because she's associating herself in my world, in a world that I don't want to be a part of. But system doesn't have to mean that either. Either way, functioning in today's world. And I thought like, oh my god, that is inspiring. And that is like my brain is like, that's like putting gas in your own in your own flame. You have a little bit of a spark, but you know what would even make it even better? Your imagination, your crazy brain, and how she just adds more fuel to the fire. And it could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing, but we're going to talk about the good things because that's the whole point of this. So yeah, imagination. Oh, are you guys sick and tired of me yet? Because I sort of am with myself. But, you can't help it. You can't help it. If you can't beat them, join them. And belief. Imagination, belief. I love how I write. I have like a little notepad of like, Karen, focus, stay on track. This is what you're going to talk about. But I wrote it too broad that I'm now like, how do I transition to the next? So, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, past Karen. But that's okay. Imagination. The first thing that I want to say is that from a personal standpoint, when I imagine, is imagination and daydream the same thing? Oh my gosh. I think I want to for me, it's a yes. They are the same thing. But also that imagination, I guess, would come first, and then daydreaming is like, taking it a step further, and that's the part where I'm really savoring in it and really sitting in that soup of goodness. But from my personal standpoint, when I when I imagine things, I take it a step further and I go from imagination to a whole entire like storyline, a whole plot, a whole movie in my head. And it gets to the point where I like feel it so much where it like sometimes if it makes me so happy it brings me to tears, if it makes me so sad it brings me to tears. It 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 is a powerful thing, the imagination, which also not a fun fact. I mean, it is a like it's a fact. It is a fun. I guess it is a fun fact, but this is like it's more of a personal fact because when I was little, um, my imagination was crazy because I was a child and I still am a child deep down inside. But when I was little, I used to say all the time, like, my imagination, like, it's hard to control, and my imagination takes over me, and it gets to the point where it hinders me and stops me from being able to move past things. And what I mean by that is, way back when I was a little itty bitty kid, I watched Monsters Inc. And I know what you're thinking, Karen, what the heck? You're going off on a tangent. But my imagination like took it to the point where I was like, there's monsters in the closet. I'm scared, I'm frightened, like I could not sleep. Like my sisters had to like tie the closet door to be like if something was to come out, it can't come out because we tied the door handle, so it's okay. And yeah, it took a lot for me to like get over those fears and also like detach and like just ignore and forget about it because none of that is real unless I make it real. So, imagination. For me, I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but you know, if anyone's out there, you know, I'm over here too. But the imagination, it makes it feel so real. Like you can picture it in your head and and when it gets to the point that it feels real, it feels like almost as if like you are living in a different world in your head, and that it brings you to believing that it is achievable. Because if I can imagine it, and the fact that I can like feel it inside me conjuring up my feelings and emotions, then for sure it is a thing that I can give it some life and make it something that is physically achievable. So, yeah. With in mind that it will take some time. So, most of the time it's not like something that I'm going to like, you know, straight up do. And also like it's the imagination in this moment, like yeah, that's how I'm feeling. But later down the line and in the future, is it something that I really want? Probably not. So that just like also is put into thought too for me personally, because I get ahead of myself way too much, and my brain is also getting ahead of herself. But luckily it takes time to catch up, and I can like reel it in and be like, whoa, 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 whoa there, Nelly, and just hold off and be like, girl, you're acting a little bit crazy. But yeah, I love how I just talked for 15 minutes about how my imagination just be making me feel things. But I also think like it is a powerful thing, because without imagination, without really using your brain and really pulling something out of nothing and making it into an actual thing, inventing, that is like the real magic. And physically we can put energy into it, if we put energy into that idea, then and if we're consistent or really and just really like, determined about it. I was gonna say strong-willed, which is like the same thing. Then it is really achievable. And yeah, almost like when people say like, oh, dress up for, or dress like the job that you want or the career that you want to have. And I feel like it applies the same way with ideas and imagination and beliefs and putting energy into it, because if we want, we can live the life that we want to live. And I think that is very true, and also coincides with basically the whole point of manifestation, really. And I feel like that word is going around a lot, and there are different tactics and ways to manifest things, but I also feel like that the original girl was the imagination. Because why not, Like, if there's a will, there is a way. And if you put your energy and will into it, and blood, sweat, and tears, and it probably doesn't have to require all of those things, but it does require our own pure energy to be put into it to give that ideal life. Then it is in fact real, and it only can be determined very real. And this is like turning into like a psychological point, but like not I guess not really a psychological point, but if you believe that it's real, then it's real. And or if you, almost like when people say like with success, like if you think you're living a good life, then you're living a good life, and who's to say that you're not, because they're not living your life. And that goes the same for the things we put our energy into with our ideas or inventions and beliefs. And this all sounds very complicated, but backing away from it and looking at it from like an overall type of thing, I think that, especially because there's so many of us and we have so many minds and different opinions and our own opinions on top of that, I feel like it's even cloudier and harder for people to see that we are very much powerful in our own right and in our own way. And as a whole entire like human race collective, I feel like we forget that that's how powerful we are. Especially if we, agree and put our energy into it, then it definitely will like, make big waves. And I don't know how we got to the point of just like turning over our own free will into the hands of someone else because of their own like greed and lies. But they were determined enough to I'm going off on a tangent now, but they were determined to do things and change the world and society that we live in. whether those are things that are good or bad is dependent on each person. But yeah, I don't know. My brain, I'm losing words, but my brain is like, hey, if that person had the imagination, the willpower, the conviction and the belief in them that they could run for president or run for something in their own government system, then and they believed it enough to put their own energy into it and breathe life into it and do whatever they can to get those votes and whatnot, and eventually, convince others that, hey, I got the plan. Now you're gonna vote for the guy with the plan, or you're gonna vote for the guy who has a whole different plan. And I don't know what I'm even saying anymore, but just the pure fact that they had the audacity, really, to even try and to do those things is really remarkable. And maybe because of the world that I'm seeing and living in, I feel like I don't see a lot of that happening with like everyday people having just the audacity to live the life that they want to live and to use their own willpower to do what they want to do, and in a good way. Yeah, I feel like we need to really recognize that more because it's important and we all have a special thing that we can contribute and influence a lot of good within each other. And right now, I feel like everyone's just like, I'm tired, I don't want to do this anymore. But like, I have to keep doing this because someone said that if I don't, then they're gonna lock me up. Or if I don't, then I will be without a roof over my head or food in my belly. And I think it's just so like, hearing those things is sad, but also like it's just so ridiculous that this is the world that we live in, and this is the place that told us that if we give up, it's turning into a history class, it's turning into a social studies class where we gave up part of our freedom for safety, and yet we're not guaranteed safety, and only we can save ourselves. And we have everything that we need, and we have the power within us to do those things. And I don't know how we even had, or I mean, there is some like lack of somewhere in many places. Oh my god, what am I'm like trying to say a bunch of things but also trying to like condense it so I'm not like saying a lot of nothing. But yeah, I'm losing my train of thought now. Oh my gosh, my brain. I needed sleep. You guys don't understand. I need like 12 hours. Yeah. We have everything we need. I don't understand how we like let go of so much of our own control to be managed by people who have their own, like, I don't know, people who have their own selfish goals and not really thinking about everyone else. But yeah, wow, I feel like this is supposed to be talking about happy things, but now I'm just like, society. But, on the good side, despite that, we are still living and breathing and pushing through every day. And if we can push through every day, then we can push through our own walls that we built on ourselves and our own glass ceilings that we put over our head. And I don't know, like, get our heads out of our butts and really take a look and really be like, have that audacity. Like, if you can't beat them, join them. If they have the audacity to do those selfish things that they want to do, then I'm gonna have the audacity to do what I want to do. And we can't look to, oh my gosh, it's starting to turn going back to the society and whatever politics. But like, we can't look to someone, to just one person to lead us. But I think if we all have like a common goal and common goal and a common, I don't know, a common goal and just like the understanding and that, I want to say leading with the heart, but how do it doesn't even matter. But if we all, that, I'm repeating myself 4 times now, then, we would live in a better world. And that all is coming from, like, imagining. Because no one can't, constrict you from, thinking and wondering and imagining those things. Unless, like, you're really living in, like, a hole. But in the meantime, like, we have this and we have ourselves and we have everything that we need to move forward in our own way. And some people, not all of us have everything that we need, but also, like, we are all on our own individual paths, and we have, this is in my head as she's like a video game. Some people chose this character, some people chose that character. Some characters have these tools, some characters have those tools. We are given the tools, and we are in our own personal game, and with those tools, we're gonna have to just figure out how to escape this room and then move on from there, and we will gain more tools and lose other tools and so on and so forth. But yeah. Are you guys bored? Are you guys confused? I hope that this is at least entertaining to have in the background. But yeah, manifest it. If you I was gonna say, if you see it and you believe it, if you can dream it, then it can be real. If you saw it in your mind's eye, then who's to say that it can't be a real physical thing that can happen? It happened in your head. It happened in that world within. So we can really push it out there if we try hard enough, or at least, like, never give up on that vision, if you will. I keep saying if you will a lot these days, and I don't know what that's about, but yeah. Today's episode was really short again. I'm trying to just make sure that I said everything that I wanted to say, because yesterday, 2 days ago, I recorded for today's episode, and I was like, but then I was like editing it, and then I was like, wow, I could have also said this, and I could have also said that. So then I was like, it's not fulfilling me. So I deleted everything, and now I'm sitting here and I'm trying it again. But yeah, Oh, also, um, from recording, trying to record earlier, I mentioned, this is not important, but it is something that most of us have seen, and just trying to remember that feeling. But it wasn't an epiphany, but it was my brain being like, whoa. Because never in my life did I think that SpongeBob would teach me something, because that show is just nothing but pure entertainment. But my brain was like, remember that episode when SpongeBob and Patrick were in a box and they were really using their imagination, and it sounded so real on the outside, and Squidward was like, what in the world is going on? And then every time he kept checking up on them, they were like, hey. And he was like, what in the, like, it sounds so real, and all that. And he was like, I'm gonna join you guys. And, you know, it's hard when you're not, when you're not on that same level, you're not on that same vibe or frequency as the person who is imagining it. And that's how I feel like every time I record for this podcast, because I'm like, oh my god, here's something that I talk about that I think is special, and then when I'm editing, I'm like, does anyone else think this way? Oh, that sounds so sad, but it's whatever. Oh my god, brain fart. But when Squidward was finally able to, like, zone in into his own imagination, it began to feel, absolutely real for him. And yeah, even if it wasn't, it's still like, I don't know, I don't think we understand how much the imagination really is just like, she is the storyteller. She's setting the tone. She is, you know, the world, and we are making it up as we go, okay? We are the author, we are the creator. And I don't think that we, like, truly are grasping that this is something really, really so pure and powerful, that we all hone this thing that we all can do. Yeah. Or at least most of us can do in any way possible. But I feel like, and this is all going back to feelings, but if you feel it so strongly within you that it is just like, ugh, the conviction in your soul, like it is, like you feel it so much in you that it is persuading and seeping outside of you, then how can you not, follow that trail? It it is really just crazy, and I don't think we appreciate it enough, and we look at it as, like, a passing thing. And some of these imaginations or ideas are like, things in passing, but I think just the fact that something that we can just, conjure up and do is really amazing just within itself. And we can really, use it for, our own entertainment and whatnot. Like, it is whatever. But when we really, like, make it into something, and make it into something good, is where, or at least if we try to, I think that's where we can really do some good damage. Um, yeah. Yep. Outside of like, a capitalistic mindset, we can do a lot of good things. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. I I hope you guys enjoyed that. If any of it made sense. And yeah, I hope you guys had a great week. It is the weekend now. And if you didn't have a great week, then I hope you have a good weekend. So yeah, I'm gonna stop talking now because that's what I do. I constantly am talking. Okay, bye.